I'm excited to say I've made a book. Stay tuned until the end of the video for more about that. What is time? In this channel, we've talked a lot about time. As black holes warp space around them, we've learned that time slows down. We've discovered the time-influencing effects of gravity and even how the James Webb Telescope can peer through time to the distant past by taking advantage of the fixed speed of light. All this makes sense so far, but what actually is time? You can't taste it, touch it, or feel it, yet time has an unstoppable influence on us and is pushing us forward whether we like it or not. Doesn't something that impacts everything we do deserve some additional understanding? I'm Alex McColgan and you're watching Astrum, and while this is an area that scientists have many theories about, I'd like to share with you today one model that might help you understand this mysterious concept that is ticking all around us. By the end of this video, we are going to have a possible explanation for why time slows down as velocity increases, and why shapes warp when undergoing velocities close to the speed of light. This video is a collaboration with my brother based on recognized scientific theory, where we have taken scientific concepts and combined them into something you may not have seen before. But before we get to that, we have to begin with one foundational idea. Time is actually another dimension. Now, before you double check that you haven't logged into some sci-fi channel by mistake, let's discuss what I mean by dimensions. While in popular culture, different dimensions are often described as parallel worlds that are very similar to ours, yet subtly different. In this context, when we talk of different dimensions, we are referring to the dimensions of space, as in three-dimensional space, or 3D space, which may be far more familiar to you. This is by no means trivial though. 3D space is all around you. It is the around you, and is very relevant to our topic. Let's begin by making sure we understand the 3Ds and the relationships between them before we add the fourth D. Broadly speaking, 3D or three-dimensional space simply refers to space that can be measured in three different perpendicular directions. The perpendicular nature of these dimensions is important, but we'll get to that later. Three-dimensional space is usually described as having height, width, and depth, and they all have 90-degree angles between them. Simply put, objects like us that exist in 3D space can move left and right, up and down, and forwards and backwards. We are comfortable with this kind of space. Using this as our basis, it becomes much easier to imagine what we mean by 2D space and even 1D space. To move from one space to another, all we need to do is remove or add an extra dimension of measurement or movement that must be a 90-degree angle from all previously existing angles. So, 2D objects move in a plane that's bounded by the X and Y directions, or the X and Z directions, or the Y and Z directions, but not all three at once. 1D objects can only move either along X or Y or Z. Imagine a person who lived in such a 1D world. Their whole existence would be found either moving one way or the other. All of reality would exist either to the left or to the right of them, and would appear as a singular dot. They could not move or see in any of the other directions, and probably could not even comprehend such directions as even existing. Photons whizzing by them would only be visible if they entered